Hello and welcome to the 106th of a second photography podcast. We're now getting very close to episode 200, which again is a big milestone for me. I'm really looking forward to that. Anyway, this week's episode is called Telling Stories with Images, and I now work in a work from home world. My Monday to Friday day job is work from home, and we've had a few speakers in at work and they've given webinars, and I've been to internal webinars, and I went to one webinar. I sat there at my desk, I listened to it, I engaged with it, and I took some useful things away. And a couple of weeks later, I sent an email about that webinar. And at the time, I really couldn't remember if I'd attended it. I go to so many. There was a very similar theme. So I thought, have I attended that, or was it the one before? I could watch the webinar back. So I went and I had a look. And I had a look at the slide deck. So presentations are now called slide decks for some reason. So I had a look at the slide deck and I thought, yes, I did go to this one. Now I remember it. And looking at the slide deck jogged my memory. But then I noticed something very interesting. All the slides in the slide deck, and this was what the speaker was going through when they're doing their webinar, they were mostly images. They had a little text, but they were pretty much all of them were images. So that was fine. Oh, they're images. And then it did make me think. As I went through the slides in the slide deck, I noticed that it was the picture that was conveying more information than the text. And if there was text, it was always never more than a sentence. It was a few words or a sentence, just to give that little bit of extra information. But mostly, I picked up the information from the picture. So that did make me think, if I can just pick up that information, the context, what's going on so quickly from a picture, how can I use that in my photography? And it did make me think about my street photography. I've done loads and loads of street photography images, and some are garbage. Some are good and some are outstanding. Now, what turns that good image into an outstanding image? I think it has to have an emotional connection to a person. So street photography, believe it or not, is all about people. It's about capturing moments, and it doesn't have to be on a street. It's essentially photographing strangers and capturing an interesting moment. Now, it could be where that sailor comes back from the war and kisses the girl, as that's quite a famous image. It could be that. It could be something else. It could be someone upset. It could be someone crying. It could be so many things. But someone just stood there doing absolutely nothing isn't going to make a good street photography image. It's better to get that person moving, looking angry, jumping. I mean, you can't get them to do that, but you know what I mean. They have to be doing something. You have to capture an action, an emotion. You have to capture a story. Now, it's really easy to say, capture a story. And it's more difficult to do. When doing photography, we've got to worry about exposure. We've got to worry about composition. We've got to worry about all these things, colours and things. And then we have a creative choice. Do we go black and white? Do we show movement by having a slower shutter speed? Do we freeze the moment? Do we use flash? All these things we've got to think about. And my better images are ones where there's a story. You can look at it and you can work out what's going on, or it asks a question and you're not sure what's going on. How did this happen? How do we get here? Is the question. Why are they so angry? Where are they going? Are these people connected? It's all about capturing that story, the story behind the image. And like I say, easier said than done. But it does really elevate an image. You can have a perfectly exposed, well-composed, creative image. And if you just took the same image a second later, it would be an outstanding image compared to what it was, because a second later, you would also have that element of story. So I want to leave you today with thinking about how you can add the element of a story into your images. Again, like I say, easier said than done. If you're working with models, what facial expression are they doing? What are they doing with their hands? That's one thing you could do. If you are doing street photography, look to capture moments. A row, maybe not capture a row of strangers, that they may turn on you, but capture a moment. And what makes it easier to capture a moment is when you are somewhere busy, where there's not just two people having a row and you come along and take a photo. There's hundreds of people. It's a busy day. Everything's going on. People are lost in what they're doing. That's when you can do good street photography, because you know, people don't notice you so much. You can blend in and then you can slip away. That's the best place to do street photography. Maybe take a few more images. Don't just take one and go away. Maybe take a couple. Again, I say that like it's an easy thing to do. That's tricky to do. It's very easy to take an image and go. Done. You've got it. Don't look at it until you're well away. Don't look at it till you get home. To take a few images, yeah, that is a bit more difficult. That is a bigger ask. Maybe use your phone to get those more intimate shots. But do think about what you can do. What can tell the story? Does the location tell the story? Does the location give a context? Does the way you've composed it change the story? Does it make it more interesting? If you shoot from low, does that change things? If you shoot from high, does that change things? These are all things that you really need to think about to take that good image and make it an outstanding image. Anyway, I've left you with that thought. Do let me know how you can incorporate a story into your images. Thank you. Goodbye.